Well, Razorback fans, if you were heading to Fayetteville for the spring game, there was no spring game, and thus in spring practice. A lot of things going on with Razorback football, and I got a bone to pick. We'll talk about it today on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Monday and had a wonderful weekend. I know there's a lot of things to get into. We'll get into some basketball talk for Razorbacks, baseball talk, unfortunately. We'll get into that as well. But also some Razorback football, which I want to be clear that there was some nice news, some good news for the Razorback football team as they had some transfer additions that were made and had a nice weekend there. And and legitimately, some of them are really good pickups for the Razorbacks. But we'll talk about that here and later in this segment. But I want to really dive into the spring game that didn't exist, that didn't have at it. I was somebody that was last week talking about the spring game and how it just doesn't seem to have a whole lot of juice and a whole lot of energy and just the program in general. And I don't want to continue to rehash that because I know a lot of you are probably tired of hearing about it, or maybe you disagree with me or whatever it is. I get it. I understand it. But over the weekend, the spring game got canceled, which is unfortunate because it looked like the weather was going to be suspect, especially on Saturday. Which is why they had the Texas A&M baseball game change up and have a doubleheader on Friday. Saturday looked like it was going to be, we'll see. Well, honestly, I was here in Fayetteville on Saturday. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you and convince you that the weather was great, but they could have had the spring game. I'm not blaming anybody because a lot of times it's just precautionary when it comes to weather, but they could have had the spring game. And one of the things that they had happen was that they were going to do an indoor autograph session. Even Sam Pittman said so much in this press conference this past week that regardless if it's raining and lightning, they're going to have this autograph session. And they canceled that. They canceled everything. They canceled the entire festivities. I just feel bad. I feel bad for everything. It's almost like there's just some sort of force, some sort of thing that is just keeping Arkansas football from having any sort of kind of excitement, any sort of reason to get excited about it, anything to kind of just connect the fans with it. It just gives the vibe that everybody's just trying to find reasons to not do things. It's maybe not even that serious, and it probably isn't. But I know that there were fans that really wanted to go and experience what they were going to have on Saturday, whether it was the practice itself or the autograph session. Because at the end of the day, you're still a Razorback fan, and it still means something for kids, to go. And even if you as a dad may not have or a mom may not have the most excitement about it, it's something still that your kids can remember and everything. I get that, and I respect that, and that's why I said last week, the spring game itself may not be anything exciting, but it's about the festivities surrounding it that's always going to bring in a lot of people. And it's just like they couldn't even do that. They couldn't even do an autograph session. They couldn't even have that happen. That was indoors. I could understand if you weren't going to do the spring game even, but like Sam Pittman comes out and says, well, even if there's lightning and rain, we're still going to have the autograph session, and then just nothing happens. It's just rough. There's just nothing that you feel like you're being connected to or pulled into, or it just seems like everyone's going through the motions. Like everyone's just kind of like, well, here we'll do this, but no one's excited about it. Now, some of you may say I'm being hypocritical in this, and let me explain it to you. Fans, by and large, may not be excited about football for Arkansas right now. And I may not be excited, at least comparatively speaking, of what I've been for Razorback football, particularly in the spring. And I don't even think that's just a Razorback football problem. I think it's a problem among all college football landscapes. But I still feel like you as a coach, you as assistant coaches, you as an AD, you as a football program in general, you need to show excitement. Because how are you going to expect anybody to get excited, anyone to start believing in you, when you just are doing things that just doesn't give the vibe that you're all in, that you're excited about this season? You know, the fans should not dictate, or at least their feeling and vibe should not dictate the feeling and vibe of the football program in general. But that's what it's felt like. It feels like the fans are the ones that's driving the attitude and the energy of the program, and it shouldn't be that way. It should be the program, the team, the coaches, everybody involved. Those should be the ones that are driving the excitement, driving the program. Not saying this by things they say in a press conference. I'm talking about they do it by the players they sign. They do it by the promoting of the program itself. They do it by having social media things. They do it by having get to know things. And I'm not talking about stuff on Hogs Plus. I'm talking about things that can really create something, because you need to find a fire. You need to find some sort of match to light to be able to get this thing going, because it feels like it's on life support. The support feels like it's on life support. And I and many others are looking for reasons to be pumped, looking for reasons to be excited. And when you just approach it this way and you have this mood about you, it's hard for anybody to get excited about it. When you as a program continue to try to push people away from covering the program, you don't want people showing up at spring practices at all. And you had all these rules about these spring practices. If anybody did show up about it, the times they get to actually see it or actually report or even film it is a very small session. And then if they get to watch it, there's only certain things that they can report on. And then you don't have really any open scrimmages. You don't have an open practice. You don't have any festivity surrounding it. You cancel all of it. Instead, and again, I even understand if you have to do it for the spring game, but just the small minimum things of having indoor fun with the autographs and getting to know the team, it just seems like you're looking for reasons to not do anything. Oh, the rain's here. Okay, well, we're just going to cancel everything. Like, spring practice is over. Did anybody notice? I mean, I know it's spring practice. I know it doesn't mean the whole thing, but did anybody even pay attention? I had somebody blame people like me for it, like blaming me for, oh, well, you're just down in the program, so no one's going to pay attention. Folks, I know all of you that listen to me, and I appreciate and love every one of you, and it means so much to me, but I don't have that kind of power. I can't sit here on this podcast every day and tell you, Razorback fans, that this is how you need to feel. You need to feel bad about the football program. And then you're like, gee, I never thought of it that way. Yeah, I guess I should feel bad. I was feeling good, but then John Nabors said I should feel bad. Now I feel bad. That doesn't happen. It's about, I connect with y'all. I connect with y'all by being able to see, interact, read, research, talk, like all these things. I do that based on all the factors that go into it. And that's where I get my logical conclusion about what's going on and how fans are feeling, which is how I try to correlate it here on this podcast. You know why? Because I'm open to y'all. I'm open to y'all's thoughts. I'm open to the feelings that you have and the direction you want to go and all of that. Like I'm open to all of that. I listen to it. And even if I don't agree with it, I'm still going to be like, hey, I know some of y'all feel this way, but this is why I feel this way. Like, it's about the approach and understanding. And the university doesn't do that with their football program right now. Years have gone by. The team has not gotten better. If in most cases it's even stayed the same or gotten worse. And instead of still continuing to try to promote it and invite people to come around and invite people to be a part of it, you push people away. And when you push people away, they become extremely resentful of you because you make them feel like they are not wanted, they are not respected, they are not appreciated. Because why? They have criticisms. Because why? They don't like the fact that you're losing. They don't like going 6-6. They don't like just going through the motions and not having a say and having a coach that's entering his 6th year where a lot of people felt like it should have been time for a change. And you're going to just be like, well, that's going to be our excuse to push people away. And this is the result that you have. You had a weekend that your Woo Pig weekend to where a little rain comes in and you just delete the whole smash. And the whole spring practice and the whole spring month, you were almost like hoping no one even knew it was going on. You were hoping nobody knew. Nobody asked questions. Nobody, demand watching. No, we don't promote anything. We'll put a picture out here and there that's going on. But we don't want to spurn up too much excitement, because if we spurn up too much excitement, then people are going to start having expectations. We can't have that. I'm not saying that's true, and that's exactly what's going on. But man, does it not feel that way a little bit? I'll end on this because I know we'll get to some positive things about the football program. But when it's me and me personally, if it's something I'm proud of, if it's anything in my life that I'm proud of, that I work hard for, and I want people to appreciate it and enjoy it, and people are interested in it, I'm going to put it out there as much as possible, because that's something I take pride in. Even if other people don't care, even if other people don't think it's cool or doesn't want it or doesn't like it, I'm still going to do it because I'm proud of it. And when you take this approach of trying to just shoo people away right and left, hoping nobody even notices you in the back corner, that's not something you show a sense of pride on. What it does, at least for me, it shows that there's a sense of scared. There's a sense of fear. There's a sense of no confidence, insecurities. There's a sense of no hope. Try to fix that. Hopefully in the fall it gets a lot better. I'll be at SEC Football Media Days. I doubt it'll be any better there, but just try. Just try to give me and others something to get excited about. That's all I'm asking. But there is some good news for Razorback football. They got some good additions over the weekend. We'll talk about that. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, get the supplies you need from the site made for skilled trades at Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order all of your products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And look for Trade Pros for an extra edge. For their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use a promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. We'll do a little combo here of some basketball updates, but some football ones to start with, since we're on that train. Arkansas did get a few additions over the weekend from the transfer portal. We were thinking about what are they going to do. They have some roster spots open. They have some additions. They're having some guys visit. And, I'm going to be honest. They had a couple of them that were truly really good gets. And I'm not saying that sarcastically, because some people are just like, "Oh, are you serious? Or are you just joking about it?" It's like, no, I'm 100% like it's legit. And it's the cornerback Julian Neal, who is a transfer out of Stanford. He spent the spring at Stanford after transferring from Fresno State. So it was kind of a weird thing before re-entering into the portal. So He went from Fresno, transferred to Stanford during the spring window, but then he's like, nah, I don't want to do this. Boom, I'm out. So he goes and transfers to Arkansas. In 2024, he's a redshirt junior, and he started 4 games and played in all 12 with 35 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, and 6 pass breakups. If you're looking at some of the outlets, Julian Neal was one of the top 5 players in the spring transfer portal. He especially at his position, he was a really legitimate get that a lot of other schools were looking at, but he decided to have Arkansas. And as I could be wrong, but it certainly seems like Arkansas could always use help in the secondary. But they took care of business. They got that, and they added another safety, which is it's a great name, by the way. This is a real thing. But he's a transfer defensive back from Maine. He's 6 foot, 205 pounds, originally from Philadelphia. And this is going to be his last year. He was a senior in 2024 at Maine. His name is Shakur Smalls. Like Tupac Shakur, Biggie Smalls. Shakur Smalls. I'm already rooting for the guy, just for the name itself. But he appeared in 11 games, had 43 tackles, ranking 5th for the Black Bears. It's the main team. And so he's going to be coming in and adding it into the mix, adding some depth there. Don't know exactly the role he'll play. And that's hard to really know because you think about it, these guys come in the spring and you just got to wait on, all right, so what are they going to do and how they're going to be? We'll just have to wait and see. But they also added really on the defensive side, which is what they needed. I'll give them credit for that. They in the portal from the fall, and once that kind of came to an end, they did a really good job on offense, but we wanted to see a little bit more on defense. And so they added another defensive lineman too. The transfer from Troy, Philip Lee is his name, 6'4", 240 pounds. He was a redshirt junior at Troy. He played in all 12 games with 10 starts, 31 tackles, with 11 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and a forced fumble. He's originally from Jacksonville, Florida. I think I mentioned that, but he's going to have another year of eligibility to come in, and he's a good-sized guy. So that's the thing is, you look at it, just adding depth. Some of these guys may be able to contribute right away, but there's no doubt that there was defense that they needed to have. And I think even if you watched Travis Williams' press conference from just a couple weeks ago, when he talked about it's hard to even know what I got because of so much turnover and everything. I think that there was a really big emphasis put on the needs of what they had to go in and get, which I appreciate because it's so funny because I remember last year around this time, I thought that the linebacker position was the one that was going to be the weakest with nobody there, and it ended up being a pretty solid squad. Granted, you lost a few of them, but now it's really, at least on the defensive side, it looks about the defensive line and secondary. I mean, you lost Landon Jackson, pretty big. You lost some defensive backs that were experienced guys, whether it's Hudson Clark. You also have, of course, Cuddy. You got Jalen Braxton going. Like, you lost a lot of pieces there. So you're just adding guys. Are any of these guys going to be just game changers? Boom, step in and be all SEC. I mean, I hope so. That'd be really awesome if they were. But at this point in time, it's just about getting depth. It's just about adding it and about getting some quality there. So again, shout out to Arkansas. They had some visits. They had some guys that could really make those pieces. I think that they're pretty much set in their starting roles, but they got some guys that could at least complement them, and we'll see if they actually end up doing anything on the field once fall camp and once season actually arrives. But on the other side of it, for basketball, there hasn't really been anything of note other than this one fact. And hopefully nobody talked about my bold prediction that I made because I don't remember making it, obviously. But Nate Ament officially has committed to Tennessee. He is not coming to Arkansas, which, not surprising. I mean, I'm just almost kind of glad that it's over in a way because the amount of people that would ask me about Nate Ament, and of course I said, like, oh yeah, I'm going to predict it. No one knows. Just a little fun thing, but I'm just glad that it's over so it doesn't have to continue on and like, oh, is he going to come to Arkansas? Is Arkansas still interested in him? What's going on? What's he doing? It's over. He's going to Tennessee. And that's, we don't want to see him go to another SEC school, but there's certainly other SEC schools that will remain nameless that they could have gone to that would have been worse. But still, Arkansas didn't get him. They're still in the hunt. I'm just telling you it's going to be a big one. I'm telling you that. I know this is not a bold prediction. This is just a fact. It's going to be a big get. You're going to see Arkansas getting. So can't wait to see how it all plays out. But still, Razorback baseball, we got to talk about that. Not a fun one, but we got to talk about it. We'll do that on the other side of the break. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, there's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game or a Razorback baseball game or any of these games going on, especially in the springtime. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena or in the stadium. And with Game Time, you can be a part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when the demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. Here's why I use Game Time, because I can save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater, all of that. It's happened before where, for instance, this past week for the Arkansas Texas A&M baseball game, I was trying to find some seats to the second game. I only had one to the first. And in between games, as we were leading up to it, I saw the price drop dramatically for some great seats. Picked it up and purchased it. It was because of Game Time. So you got to check it out. They do an all-in pricing, which means no surprise fees at checkout. You see what you see, and that is what you pay. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Frustrating weekend for the Razorback Diamond Hogs, which I know it's crazy to even say it's a weekend when the series was decided Friday night because of weather, by the doubleheader. But Arkansas lost the rubber match to Texas A&M 9-2 on Friday. They won game 2. They won the second game, and they did that pretty convincingly and looked good in it. But the last game was just nothing was there. There was just nothing there. That Jace LaVallette guy just would not stop hitting home runs, and Arkansas would not stop just feeding it to him. But you can't win if you can't score, and you got to score more than 2 runs. Arkansas just was unable to get it going. They had 9 hits, but 8 of them came from just the 4 players, which was Davlon Aloy, Vahiva Aloy, Brent Iredale, and Ryder Helfrich, and everything else was pretty much donezo. They didn't do a good job in the situational hitting. They didn't do a good job of taking care of business in the scores, and when it was in their possession and in their field, and they just didn't do it. Now, I'm not coming here and saying that it's panic time, shut her down, team sucks, because some of you are going to do that. But I'm also not going to sit here and just say, oh, things are just peachy keen, and this is just going to be totally fine. Arkansas still going to just roll to Omaha. Like, that's not the case. You can still be a little bit concerned. And that's really where my concern comes into play is that you got some issues with pitching. You have some issues with those situational hitting. And now you've dropped 2 straight SEC series, one of which you should have won against Georgia. And now this other one you lose at home to a Texas A&M team, which I know they've gotten better. I know that they're preseason. I know it's all that. But you should never be in a position to where you only score 2 runs in the rubber match game. I don't care who it's against. I know what this offense is capable of. And Arkansas only getting 2 runs in game 3 against a team in Texas A&M that doesn't exactly have an elite level pitching in their bullpen. You just can't have that. And so now you drop 2 of them, and you get Florida coming up this weekend on the road, which never easy, and they're surging a little bit. And then you throw in all the rest of the games that they have that Arkansas is going to be, whether it's Texas and then LSU and then Tennessee. Like, we know what the schedule looks like. So it just really was important to win one of these against Georgia or A&M, and you lost both. If you lose to Florida in this series this weekend, it's really going to start getting dicey. It's really going to start getting a little weird. But frustrating, man, just frustrating. And I think the most frustrating thing about it, folks, is it was Texas A&M. And Texas A&M swept you the entire year in all the major sports. The Aggies. Texas frickin' A&M swept you across the board. That sucks. And that hurts. And I'm tired of it. But I know Dave Van Horn's just as pissed as anybody. He was really frustrated after that game 1. And they got some things they got to figure out. It's just plain and simple. They got to figure out the basic things, and they got to figure out their pitching. They got to figure out they have the talent to do it, but you just can't be doing the things you're doing and having those situational hitting issues pop up right and left like they've been going on. So we'll see how they bounce back. They got a midweek, and then they play Florida. But man, just annoying. That's the best way to put it over the weekend. Just an annoying series, an annoying loss. Please bounce back, because I do not want to do this again next Monday. That's all I'm asking, Hogs. That's all I'm asking. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. Keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. See you then.